So, if you've been paying attention to competitive Fortnite, you may have seen the Reload Elite series, right? We have a $2.5 million Fortnite LAN that will be, or no, $2.5 million Fortnite tournament series that will be taking place over the course of, I believe, January to June is a rough time, which will culminate in a $1 million LAN at the Esports World Cup in Saudi Arabia. You've already been able to play in this tournament. It started last week. We'll have more qualifiers taking place over the next couple of months. But with that, if you've been paying even more attention, you would have seen there's been a lot of roster moves happening in Fortnite. We have not had this for a while in the Fortnite competitive space where people are talking about organizations. Players are moving from one org to another. We actually have to care about who's a free agent and who's not right now. There's a lot going on. And so we're going to talk about some of the things because we haven't actually talked much about Esports World Cup happening and like the implications of that. I think we mentioned it once on the pod and we sort of moved past it. Boop, Reese.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into why this is happening. Why has there been a lot of these, roster moves taking place? Because I think people maybe don't quite understand that, right? They've seen the Reload Elite series happening. They're like, oh, this is cool. We get Reload tournaments. But why is this now leading to a bunch of org nonsense?
First of all, you need to know that you don't need to be an org for EWC. That's the first thing. Because that is the number one thing I keep seeing is, oh my God, dude, what if I qualify? I don't have an organization. What am I'm going to get kicked out? You don't need an organization for EWC. That's all I want to start with because I know that's going to be the first thing that everyone's going to be confused about. Go ahead, Reese.
My second thing I was going to worry about is that orgs have been, at the point where the announcement was and everyone started to learn about it, orgs were relevant for about 2 hours before literally everything the arse fell out of everything and it was just a mess and you had teams going crazy and all this kind of stuff. So, orgs jumping into Fortnite, it didn't take long really before we started to see a complete shambles.
As you typically always do.
Yeah.
Well, look, none of you actually explained it, so I'll explain it.
No,
basically, the Esports World Cup is an event that's been taking place now. This is the third year it'll be running, and they have this whole thing called the Club Championship, right? It is this additional, on top of all the different competitions that take place with all the different games, it's an additional competition that sort of runs in the background, which is, I believe, for like $20 million prize pool that gets split between organizations based off of how those organizations do across all the different titles of games. And so if you can put 1 and 2 together, you will then figure out now that Fortnite is going to be taking place at the Esports World Cup, a lot of organizations obviously want the points that they would get from doing good in Fortnite potentially so that they can do better towards getting that big $20 million prize pool. Henceforth, you get a bunch of organizations trying to pick up Fortnite players who weren't previously interested in Fortnite as a game, which is one of the funniest parts about all of this, right? Because we've seen a bunch of organizations who were in Fortnite at one point, right? A bunch of organizations who used to be in the Fortnite space, who used to sell us lies and dreams about how they believed in Fortnite as a game before running off. And now that there's a chance to get, a piece of that $20 million, they're like, hey guys, we believe in Fortnite again. We're back. 2 years we've been gone, but we're back home. Like, come on, man.
When money
talks. The value.
Money talks.
They come crawling back. They come crawling back, man.
They do. They absolutely do.
If we had a spot as a community, we would just say no. You guys didn't want us at its lowest. Now you can't have us at our best. You can save your $7.5 million. Now, I mean, it's a good thing overall. You do see sort of two sides of the coin here, mainly from people that already invested in the Fortnite community, right? Like a lot of the orgs that already invested, unfortunately, are going to be hit quite hard with this, like the Havocs, like the M8s, and the other people of the world, because these orgs are coming in artificially inflating price salaries. Players are asking for more money now. It's gonna be hard to sustain, especially because it's 3-year contracts now that we have for EWC. So I think a lot of those orgs are looking at this in a negative way. I see a lot of tweets from org owners across the board as well, saying like, yo guys, if you're expecting a lot of money from EWC, don't bother. It's not going to inflate the scene that much. I think they're just trying to get prices a little bit lower, just so they get better deals. But unfortunately, the truth of it is right now, things are hot. People are getting big contracts. People are trying to get out of contracts as well. If you look at Twitter or anything at all, you can tell, some brothers really want out of their contract because they've been offered big money from other places. But unfortunately, they are stuck. Is it a positive thing overall? I mean, dude, if the players are getting paid and people are getting money, even if short term it kind of destroys the comp market for salaries, so be it. You know, these guys, let them get their bag. I don't see any issue with it. It's not like the org market is that large anyways prior to this, so might as well make the most of the situation for a lot of these players.
Well, it's interesting because obviously the last time we had Fortnite competing at the Esports World Cup was in its first year in 2024, right? 2 years ago. And back then it was a whole different mode. There was a whole different idea behind how they were doing it. And at the time we did see some like rostered org drama, right? We saw the dynamic between like, you know, orgs trying to push and pull players trying to get bigger money, etc., etc. Now it's different because it's bigger. There's obviously, it's back to like Battle Royale instead of being like a team mode type gimmick. And there's weird dynamics in place where obviously you have orgs who are incentivized to have like a duo for that org. You have players who obviously wouldn't have written up their contracts with the knowledge of this type of situation being possible. And you have this push and pull where certain players are like, all right, cool, I'll stay with you guys. Bring me this player onto the org to play with. There's some of those orgs are going, we ain't got that type of money. So they're going, all right, I'm leaving. I don't want to be here anymore. And the org's like, nah, we want to keep you. You have a contract. And this player's going, well, I'm getting offered a lot of money from these other guys. I want to go there. It's a whole ordeal. There has been some big moves that have already taken place. There are some big moves that are in conversation as well that we sort of know through murmurings behind the scenes. I know all of us will have different sort of behind the scenes knowledge of certain things going on, right? But the big one that a lot of people have been talking about, because it's two of the biggest players in the game, Poyo. Looks like he's going to be leaving Gentlemates and joining Falcons to play alongside Peterbot. There was this whole ordeal around whether Peterbot and Poyo were going to be playing at all, even in Battle Royale, right? It looks like they will be playing. It looks like they're going to be playing in Reload because they queued up that first week of Reload Elite Series with each other, and there was clips of Nikoff on stream in French talking about how Falcons, or talking about how they had received an offer they could not refuse for Poyo from Falcons. Sounds like Falcons, doesn't it, right? Offers people can't refuse.
I wonder what that number is, though.
Well, look, there's been a lot of murmurs about the number. I can't remember the exact, but I remember people were like rumoring like something like, I'm sure Boop, you've had to speak about it on stream like a million times. What was like the number people were saying it was that they've been offered?
Nikov said on stream that it is the largest salary or largest transfer in Fortnite history, he says. I think he does forget there's been a few bigger ones than Tayson. I think Tayson's the big one that a lot of people know about because there was a new article written about it. I believe Tayson's was £100,000 from Guild to Falcons to transfer. Apparently there was a mongrel from Secret to like FaZe or something that happened.
That would have been a big
one, long time ago, so I'm sure that was probably larger. But
Prime World Cup transfer.
Yeah, exactly. Prime Mongrel World Cup transfer would have been the disgusting number, especially because people want to make headlines. But I don't think anyone knows the exact number.
People only know about the Guild one because Guild was, people forget Guild was a public company, so they had to share the information.
Yeah,
it's like
share
now
how badly they were doing. Yes,
right. But it's also that's one of those things that it's like now with like player count numbers. Like people was like, yeah, the record for player count is this. Because since Epic have started sharing it, and they're like, and people don't realize when they didn't have the numbers, that's prime Fortnite. We don't know what the actual record player base is. Continue.
So a lot of people are speculating the number. Nobody actually knows. Everyone pretends like they know. Like there's a lot of managers that are like making impression form tweets about this and that. Like, oh, I heard this. I know this. Sources tell me this. Motherfuckers, you don't know shit. More than likely. I mean, let's be honest. I think a lot of people have the wrong perception about Falcons, that they have infinite boatloads of money, which they might, you know. But like, if you look at their actual investment into Fortnite and other esports, they're slowing down on those investments as well, right? They used to have like 15 people in Falcons in the Fortnite community. Now they just have Tay and Peterbot, you know, that's all they have. So if they had boatloads and infinite money, they would have bought out the whole scene at this point, right? If you think about it logically. So I know what Poyo's contract is with MA. Let's assume it's somewhere similar to what his actual salary is, because they also have to pay his salary as well and stuff like that. Probably like 200k to 300k, you know? It's probably around that number if we're being honest. So I don't think it's ridiculous, but that's sort of akin to what he's being paid salary-wise. So
I think makes even more sense for Falcons to buy them out, because you've got to think about the fact that I think was it last year they won club championship. I don't know if they won it the year before that as well.
They did.
Yes, they did.
I think they just won it every year.
They've won it
probably.
every year.
Yeah, they're
so,
paying themselves at this point. Yes,
pretty much. Yeah. So it makes sense for them because they'll actually probably make a return on that either way. You've got a player for the rest of the year. You've got potentially 3 years of Fortnite tick box. You're going to do well. You're going to get good points there for the overall championship. So even if they have to pay out on a ridiculous amount, this is like the one time where you look at that and go, yeah, they'll probably actually make that money back.
Well, depends on Peterbot's mantra and mindset as well, right? Because he's been on the way out, man. He's been on the way out, but now he's got the pressure because, your org's putting a lot of pressure on you because they're paying this shit ton of money to get your boy in, So now you gotta grind, I'm sure they're like, yo, Pete. If we're gonna do this, man, you're gonna have to start playing the game again, brother. He played the Duo Victory Cup with FNtasia yesterday, by the way, just if you didn't know. So
they won money.
That's going well.
I mean, they won.
Was that in West? I swear.
I think that's NA Central.
Was Central? Dang, there you go.
Yeah,
fair play. FNtasia's the GOAT, clearly.
He was alive till the end, so
he was. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like a full
I saw a clip.
It's interesting, right? Because obviously, in the case of Poyo, potentially being bought out of M8, right? What do you guys actually make of that, right? Because in many ways, there's the people who will go, Falcons, they're just buying out whoever they want, whatever. I look at it and I go, hey man, M8 might have just caught life here. They might have gotten very fortunate here because obviously with M8 picking up Poyo, it was their whole it was always weird to me, right? Obviously I think last year a lot of their thought process was, I guess, one, sort of trying to get into the NA market, but also trying to better their chances of doing well at globals, right? And obviously Poyo's trio was one of the better trios in the world. But it was always a weird fit where it's like Poyo doesn't really M8's whole thing is French Fortnite, European dominance,
Not sure about French Fortnite, but yeah, European dominance.
But do you know what I mean? No, but when I say French Fortnite, I mean French Fortnite, the fandom of French. Yeah. They are French, right? Obviously not all their players were French.
Or any.
Well, they had some French players.
At global.
They just did. They had some French players.
In general, yeah.
Yes.
Right? So the Poyo thing was always a weirder fit. Right, obviously Nikov does the viewing parties of just Poyo. I don't know how well those do. I've never really paid too much attention to it.
She's the most viewed Fortnite stream at that point. Yeah.
Right. So it's it's an interesting thing where I've always just thought I don't know how, especially when you have to remember the context of them picking up Poyo was on the assumption he was going to be able to play with Pete still. And then they had obviously changed the whole thing where I was like, actually, no, he's not going to go. So they, at the time when we were talking about it, everyone was like, signing Poyo makes so much sense. You get the POV.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't happen. So that doesn't happen. Poyo duds at globals. And so you're probably sort of just left sitting there thinking, damn, that didn't work out how we thought. Wait, Falcons want to give us a bunch of money to take him off our hands? Thanks, mate.
Logical.
It kind of I feel like everything sort of just worked out for M8.
So I had that perception as well at the start, but then I think they recently signed Poyo, right? 2 months ago or something like that.
So I re-signed him.
Yeah, they re-signed them. So I always had the perception, I was like, it doesn't make much sense anymore because Pete was streaming out of spite so that Nikov wouldn't get the Poyo POV. He's like, if they're going to be profiting off of Poyo, I'm just going to stream anyways with no delay and, I'm going to make money. So I feel like that also might have been an indicator for it, but then they just re-signed him afterwards. Maybe they thought that Pete wasn't going to stream anymore and then the POV would value. I know that his contract did go down from his initial contract. He had a very, very good contract at the start. And then it went down afterwards from there for the new re-signing, I think 2 months ago. I think what probably influenced was probably the final nail in the decision, more than likely, though, is the new rule that came out, I think a few weeks ago. And essentially, the rule set that came out was that you're only allowed to field one specific roster per organization for the EWC Fortnite. And if you have multiple rosters in EWC Fortnite, then both teams get disqualified from Club Championship prize pool, and then you get no points from those players. So they don't get disqualified from the LAN. I think initially a bunch of agents were messaging me like, they're going to get disqualified if they have two orgs they can't read. And then they sent me the rule. I'm like, bro, that's not what that means. But yeah, you get disqualified from the club championship prize pool. So let's say they had M8 Vanya and M8 Mustache, which they currently have, and then they had M8 Pollo, and then they would have signed another player to go alongside Pollo for M8 roster. If they both made it to that final, then none of them would have gotten prize club pool points at that point. So in that
is it just? Do we know if the rule is just for you don't get club points for that game, or you're disqualified from the whole club championship?
I believe it's for that game.
Okay, interesting.
So if the intention was to sign another teammate alongside Pollo, that sort of idea is out the window now, because you can't sign someone else with Pollo because you already have two teams of rosters that are probably both going to make the finals, right? So a lot of these orgs now have to make a big choice of like, okay, what is our main duo pick? Right? And a lot of people mention for Falcons, for example, like, boo, what about Tayson? Why don't they put Tayson and Yapko together? Well, it doesn't matter anymore because now they're Pete and Pollo together as the main Falcons roster here. So I think that rule maybe pushed that deal maybe a little bit over the edge. Maybe they were offered before. They saw that. It's like, okay, we have the value of Pollo PUV, but does it really matter? And if they're giving us a lot of money, we're getting sort of a get out of a jail card for free here, you know? Like, we've got a potential Peterbot who's declining mentally, doesn't really want to play as much. He's not even playing tournaments with Pollo right now, so Pollo ends up playing with Phils in the next few months, potentially. For EWC, it doesn't make much sense anymore. Nikov is now the CEO as well. I've heard that he really doesn't want to stay up till 1 a.m. for NA all the time. The brother's too rich at this point, let's be honest, right? Like, he's too good to do this shit. Like, you know, give it off to someone else to watch the Pollo POV at this point. But like, that was also a thing on top of that. So I think all those things combined, it's like, okay, we're going to get $300K from Falcons, and we're saving ourselves $200,000 a year in Pollo's contracts, $500,000 swing essentially in income and profits or whatever. I think that's probably the most logical situation. Like, okay, yeah, we can get someone else at this point, you know, like we can get maybe an up and coming player or another NA brother, and then hopefully field a roster around that in the future. So that's sort of the mindset I think was there.
I also think that rule is just really stupid. Like, it makes sense if you should only have one team. But surely if you have more than one team, before the tournament, you should just say, okay, this is our main roster, and we just have like a backup team. And if they do well, they don't get points. Because then you're like not messing up the entire...
It's for griefing, essentially.
It's the problem,
it's if let's say M8 has two teams in the roster, Vanya and Mercer's are first place, Queasy's in second place for whatever org he's in, they're like, yo, we're gonna give you $10,000 if you land on Queasy now, Pollo. You know, like that's what they're trying to prevent, I guess.
It should happen for the individual prizes anyway, though. You know,
I'm sure they'll cover it or something.
The problem you have is that like it's where you have this esports entity coming into the Fortnite space and going, whoa, we need to be careful, like collusion, guys, anti-griefing, and it's like, hold on, guys, that's this is Fortnite we're talking about. Yeah. Griefing's part of the package, right? Collusion is part of the deal. For. Yeah, like what? Like you guys, because when you look at a lot of other games, when you look at a lot of other BRs like Apex and PUBG, like typically you would only have like one team to like in Fortnite, the way we have it where like people just play with anybody. That doesn't really happen in the other BR esports,
but you're
right?
adapting to Fortnite, which is
it's weird. Like, I think, to be honest, I understand why it has to be done, just because, especially in the context of like the club championship and like the money on the line, there is too much money on the line for them to not have something like that in place in the context of this. Yeah. Like, it would just be too controversial. The individual points that any one team gets from just Fortnite alone probably isn't like that significant in the grand scheme of things, right? There's so many other games. I'm sure if you go back and look at the club championship leaderboard from last year, whatever, like Falcons won it. I'm sure they didn't get points in every single game, right? Like would have been games where you get 0 points and you can still win the whole thing. It's just, it would just, when you look at the standards and the norms of esports, even though it's normal in Fortnite, like because of the context of all the other games, it would just be problematic. And I think
get
it's
it, and I'm
probably
sure
just the easiest solution.
People from other games are like, "Well, stupid comment to me."
Yeah, like,
but like, going into, especially when you've got orgs who already have so many players on them at once, like say like Dignitas is a good example. Like, what are they gonna do? They have fucking 100 people, or well, maybe an example, exaggeration, but they have so many people. So like, what, are they just not going to allow a lot of their players to go, and then they're
So
trying
this
to
is
not
the
trade
thing.
people off and all that?
Yeah, because you can't really like loan people because they have rules against that in
Exactly.
WC. Do we know? Like, is it, because that's the next biggest thing I think that sort of needs to be addressed. Like, what is actually going to happen in the case of like some of those teams who, because obviously we don't know who actually qualifies. It might work out luckily in a way where no double teams qualify, right, in terms of orgs. But that realistically probably isn't going to happen, right? So like,
Yeah.
do we know what's actually going to happen if that does happen?
So it needs to firstly, we don't know exactly which orgs are actually competing in Club Price, at least for the organizations that we currently have, right? Like, I guess the big ones we have Havoc, Exet, and M8 and Dignitas.
Falcons
and right?
Gen
But Falcons
G
is
now.
not the issue unless Tayson goes crazy and plays with Yapko out of spite or something, which I'm sure like, yo, Tay, don't do that. But I guess if those orgs are competing for the Club Powers Championship, they would have there's a due date to when you need to submit your rosters for EWC. And that due date, I believe, is April 30th, which is before the last qualifier for EWC, essentially. So these orgs, by that time, if they think that if they have multiple teams potentially and they're looking prospects to qualify or they're already qualified, they're just gonna have to drop them or they're gonna just have to sell them to people internally. They have no other choice. Otherwise, they're losing on 1,000 points. I'm looking at the leaderboard from last year, and each game win is 1,000 points. So the difference between Falcons, who was first place, and Team Liquid, who was second place, was 1,000 points.
Was 1K
Funnily
points, yeah.
enough, and that is a $3 million difference. The difference between second and third was 150 points. So like Fortnite as a game does matter in these cases because I think it's 1,000 for first, 750 for second, then 300, 150, 100 that I'm looking at. 500, 350, 150.
So even then, it's even more. Yeah, it's even more.
It was 150
of a
difference between
problem.
second and third, and that's $1 million difference. So it's quite
I get why they have
that
to do
this
it.
doesn't screw you over as an organization.
Yeah. I do get why they have to do it, as much as it's dumb from a Fortnite perspective, because it's just so not what we're used to.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You mentioned a point that I think is very good, Reese, in that for certain orgs, we're seeing the gambit, right? Everybody sort of has this idea that like you're gonna have a bunch of different orgs coming in who are all competing in a club championship. To some extent, I think we'll see heavier investment than others, right? In the case of Falcons, who are competing at the top and they have so many good teams in other esports, it makes sense that they're going to try and spend as much as possible to get an advantage in this game, right? To try to capitalize as much as possible. Some of the orgs maybe who are lower down, right? Who are technically competing EWC, but maybe don't have as many other teams in other esports. So this isn't actually really that big of like a thing. It'd be interesting to see their approach, right? We saw Gen G pick up Aegis and Ritual. It kind of makes sense for Gen G, right? Their team who I believe came 7th last year in the club championship. The difference that a team like Aegis and Rituals can make up if they do well could be huge, right? Like they can move you up a couple spots, you know, depending on their placement. It makes sense for those guys to come in and like pick up a team who's really good. For some of the other orgs, right? I don't know how big of a deal EWC actually is for Dignitas, right? And so in the case of Dignitas, they have Canada and Arc who are really good. Like, do you even bother taking the risk? Like, do you just try sell other people off, right? Because it's like, we don't even care that much. Like, we'll just farm the money we can take from all of you guys. The money we're going to get from all of you guys wanting our players is more than what we will get from the club championship anyway. So we might as well just give you our players, right?
But
like
then
that,
you have to obviously, like, for say Dignitas is a good example. Obviously, they have a whole content landscape around a bunch of stuff.
that's
So,
the problem, right?
You know, it's like, do they just say, okay, say Bucky Qualls, do you just go, you can't represent an org. You've got to go. We'll keep you signed and we'll pay you, but you're not going to represent us there. Like, is there really something that would stop them from doing something like that? Where like, yeah, we just have one Dignitas team. We're sending more Dignitas players, but like they're not representing us. You know?
Yeah, I do wonder how strictly they're going to look at things like that.
Yeah.
Because last year there was also specific rules against. There was like, okay, no, it was not last year. It was for the year before that. A lot of the orgs for the club championship prize were given a stimulus package essentially of money to sign a bunch of players. And said, yo, you have to sign these players, sign these Fortnite players, but then you have to sign them for at least a year minimum. 3 months after EWC, a lot of these guys were kicked out the door. You know, like a lot of these things are said and done, but aren't
And
really
they're not
regulated.
followed, yeah.
But you know, they say they're going to be strict this year. I don't know. At some point, I guess they're gonna have to regulate things. It does feel like they're serious now. They're sending a bunch of emails to org owners, from what I'm talking to. Let's be honest. If they're not like a big club, I don't think you wouldn't know. You know, like unless you're. It really depends if you're competing. If you're competing, I'm sure that do they even have the right to be like, yo, can you send us all the contracts of the players? Like, we want to see the contracts now. Like, can they do that? Is that even a thing? I don't know. You know?
No, if they say, hey, I'm going to give you $3 million.
Yeah, but like,
Can you show me the
exactly.
contracts? They probably, oh man, fucking hell.
Join a $50
fair
million
enough.
tournament, then take
But
my
that's-
contracts, man. Show it all.
That's like, and again, I'm so intrigued at how this all plays out for that reason, right? Because let's say you are like Bucky in that situation, right, with Dignitas, right? Like Dignitas are like, all right, I'm sure there's going to be situations where like people are going to get dropped, but it's like they're going to have to negotiate some sort of way of like, okay, you're dropping me because of this, but like, surely I got to get like some moolah to compensate for the fact that you now will be able to get money from the club championship that you wouldn't have been able to get other. Like, this is
Otherwise,
be
I'm telling.
weird.
I'm
Do you know what I
telling.
mean?
you.
This is gonna be very weird, and I like the weirdness. There are some situations where like I think good moves are being made in the sense of like Ritual going to Gen G makes sense. I don't know how much Ritual maybe would have got bought out for. I don't know, maybe his deal had expired. It was perfect timing, but like he's a good one where it's like he goes to Gen G, he leaves Exet. It kind of makes sense. Like he didn't really fit in with what Exet were doing content wise as much. And you can just sort of like let go of him and it's like fine, you know? There are other people who it wouldn't be fine, right? Like what happens, there's other people who are like are a bigger deal to their org, or at least like, you know, what happens with Veno on Exet, right? Like you're not just gonna let him go, right? Like you're gonna, but what happens when Clicks and Higgs want to qualify? Like it's just gonna be weird.
Well, it has to be a full duo to be an applicable situation. So if
it's not a full duo, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought I made that clear. It has to be a full duo to make it a problematic situation. So that's why Veno's playing with Pixie right now, because Pixie is clearly in Havoc, as you can see.
Ching! Wait, now, okay. So what's the whole point of the whole Griefhead shit if you could just have someone not on the org? Because what's stopping Venom from still just being a shooter for Exit?
I guess in this case, the individual is now incentivized by the prize pool itself. I guess I never thought of it in that way, but I guess you're kind of right. It's like technically Venom can still grief, you know, for the sake of Exit, and this guy can still grief for the sake of these guys too, you know, like
if just because Venom's not on an Exit duo, Clicks could still hit him up as the org and be like, yo, brother, you better help us, bro. Like, leave some big bucks in the POI. Like,
maybe it is for solos too. I don't have the exact rules.
I mean, it should be. I feel like
now that maybe it's one of the things they have. Maybe they don't have a podcast to think about it in a group setting. You know, sometimes the greatest ideas come in a podcast. But okay, this is the rule that is in the rule set that I was sent. For the Fortnite EWC 26 main tournament, a club looking to collect club championship points can only have one in bracket duo represent them in the tournament. Participation with multiple duos will not be permitted on the club championship side. So it only
says
mentions
multiple
duos. Yeah,
but like the whole point of like protecting against collusion would be like conflict of interest. If you are on the same organization as somebody else, like that's the actual problem. It's not that it's a duo. It's like you are representing the same organization.
You have the same interests, essentially. Yeah,
like we're going to see how this unfolds. We are going to see how this unfolds. But remember.
They might be watching now. They're like, oh, fuck, they're right. All right, we're going to mess shit up again. Another email. We just screwed everyone over again.
Okay, I'm going to ask you quick winners and losers of Reload and EWC and all the things going on.
Sure.
Gentlemates.
Winners. I think they got out of an awkward situation with Pollo. Even though I thought they felt like the value with Pollo was there, I think in hindsight they're probably like, okay, this is just, it's safer for them. So I think winners.
Agreed.
One we didn't mention, but think about it and give me your answer. Atlantic. The organization who are Sky and Scroll's organization.
Are they?
I say this just because Sky and Scroll are in really good form recently. They're on an organization which isn't, you know, massive tier one. With respect to Atlantic, of course, they do great work. if you're an EWC org, like just picking up Sky and Scroll is like the perfect like duo to pick up. I feel like.
I take it they're not in club championship then, because they're not.
I mean,
games,
technically,
I would imagine.
any org can compete. No, like if you sign
They're
up
not
for
in
it,
club
it's just-
championship.
Yeah, but like
I know about Sky and Scroll situation. I would say Atlantic's a winner, but maybe Sky and Scroll are slightly less winners. If I'm being honest.
Thanks for giving it away, mate.
I mean, let's
I
be
wasn't
honest. Like,
asking you for
let's be
inside
honest.
information.
If you're not if you're in an organization that's not applicable, you're gonna get poached. You know, like that's kind of
the
obvious.
thing,
Like, it's obvious that a team like Sky and Scroll or someone like Shark or Vico, they're gonna get taken from the orgs because especially with this rule now. One team can represent, so like a Shark and a Vico, one of them's also going to go out of big if that's the intention, or they're picking up a Malibu, or they're picking up Teeny and vice versa, So all these situations are kind of obvious, but yeah, I know Sky and Scroll are potentially leaving Atlantic. Maybe
I was curious about that one from you guys' perspective because I want to know in that situation, right? Are Atlantic more winners because they maybe get a big payout from Sky and Scroll? Or do they become losers because as much as you get that big payout, like you can't really replace those. Like it's going to be hard for you to get a duo that replaces like those guys as far as like how cheap you're probably able to get them for and how impactful and good they actually are. You know, like that is hard.
Definite emphasis on that last part. I can tell you that. I would say actually Atlantic might be the losers here. Now that you mentioned that, and then
Right?
Sky and Scroll might be the big winners here.
That's what I think about. I'm like, yeah, like you get the payout, but like after this, like let's say Sky and Scroll get signed by I don't know who's an org, KC or G2 or someone like that comes in, right? Did I actually?
No,
snipe?
joking,
Oh, okay, I thought I just sniped like the org that
I
got
was
them
gonna
done.
whatever you said. To be honest.
That would be a crazy snipe if I just got that. If you're like if that happens, we probably just never hear about Atlantic ever. As sad as that sounds,
No.
Like, but that's like the level we're talking about here, right? Like, at that point, are they really win? I don't know. All right, last one's pretty straightforward one. Tier 1 free agents, winners or losers?
Oh man, they're winning.
Winning.
They are winning. Holy.
Winning.
They have so much leverage. It's unbelievable on what they can argue for in a contract right now because they'll be able to know what everyone else is doing and they don't have that difficulty. You have no buyout, so you just give that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of recent free agents we've seen. Cammy recently became a free agent. Queasy's become a free agent in the past week. Panzer's a free agent within the past week. Flixie has also become a free agent within the past week. I know about a couple of different players as well who are currently on orgs who have been bought out, who are free agents in practice, but obviously maybe not publicly right now. People who've already signed to some bigger orgs who got bought out. There's like a lot of that going on. So I'm sure we'll get a bunch more announcements within the next couple of weeks of different players and orgs moving around.
Yeah, it's all of the tier. I mean, the tier ones are the ones that are expected to qualify first. But if you're a free agent tier 1 and you're the first team to qualify of the 3 duos,
Oh man.
because like you're still like even though like let's say you pick up a Queasy Swizzy, right? Like and you pre-sign them to an org. There's no guarantee they qualify EWC. Like there's still a 1%, 2% chance they don't make it there, for example. So like you're still taking a risk signing a team early versus waiting to see who's the first qualifier. It's like, okay, these guys qualified first time in EU, they got first place. It's probably going to be a contender to win, right? And they're both free agents. Dude, the leverage there is out of this world at that point. So, because I think a lot of people, especially for this point that you make it, I think a lot of people are over exaggerating the value of qualifying and under exaggerating the value of a tier 1 that qualifies here. Because like, yes, orgs might be looking at you if you qualify EWC, but if you can't win EWC, what does it matter? Like, are we going to be poaching OCE, Asia teams, Middle East teams? No. Like, yeah, they qualified EWC, great. Maybe we want them represented for our org, but they're not going to help us get club championship prize pools.
Yeah.
So, like, we're not going to sign them. There's only like 5 or 10 duos that are actually able to get these points, and those are the ones that are going to be picked up. So like when I made that tweet being like, yo, if you're a tier 1, you're going to make 100k a year for the next 3 years. Yeah, that's probably true because those are the guys that can provide these orgs points. Everyone else, probably not.
It doesn't matter as much, right? That's why I said earlier, like, I think a lot of people underestimate, like, not every org that's even involved in this whole club championship really, like, is a player in that same way, right? It's like, it's really gonna be a lot of the orgs who maybe like you look at last year's top 10, like a lot of those orgs might be like,
money.
okay, you know, they're gonna have money and they're like, well, we want more, let's invest in a way we haven't before in Fortnite. But like that's not that many duos and spots available, right? Like it's like 10 players or so who really can bag out.
If you imagine all the OCE players when they get the announcement for this, they were like, "We are getting rich, man! All the contract values are going to be crazy." And then they see the offers coming through, and they're like,
"Hold on a minute,
this doesn't
Lachlan,
seem
mate,
to line
power!
up."
What happened, mate? Come on."
Invest in the Valorant org, Lachlan, please, man, please.
Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if the orgs don't have a bunch of teams in other esports, like you're basically hopeless.
Like there'll be, I mean, dude, even like, I mean, dude, he's the best example of that. Gen G has signed an NA team, you know, a Korean organization. I think actually there might be Chinese actually. I think the Chinese.
I don't know.
A Chinese organization that has invested into Asia. You know, like usually, typically, the investing into Asian
region,
esports,
South
right?
Korean,
Like they have
Korean.
the South. Oh, they are South Korea. Okay, so yeah, they have a they're one of the best League of Legends teams of all time. If you don't know who Gen G is, they have a very good Valorant team as well. But like, yeah, they're not going to invest in those regions because like they're not going to be able to give you the results. So that's why they're picking up. There's a reason why all the news that we're hearing is coming out of EU mainly because all the EU guys are free agents. A lot of the NA guys are kind of locked up, right? And at least the top echelon of NA. I mean, you have got Clicks Higgs. I guess Iomzo is elite, but I guess he'll be bought up by another organization, more than likely with Josh Rayleigh at some point. Agers and Rich Shores were free agents at that point, so they get picked up by Gen G. But everyone else is like locked up a little bit. Stuck. Yeah, Dig or Xset. So all the EU guys are for open season. They also have the more potential to the top 5 of the land. Honestly, maybe Globals has helped out a lot of these EU players with like, yo, we saw Demish and Dime got top 5 with Globals. That's a lot of club championship pool points if they end up doing that. So maybe they get picked up. Wink, wink. You know,
maybe it's another South Korean organization.
potentially another South Korean organization. Who knows?
Oh man. Well, yeah. I'm sure there'll be more stuff with EWC coming out. We also saw the solo series qualifiers come to a conclusion. Did you guys play solos? Reese, did you play?
Let's not even fucking talk about it. There's a reason why I'm starting a video of practicing my fighting for the next 30 days.
Oh, shit. Hey, guys, look, you can't say we don't get you leaks there. We got a Reese leak.
Is 30 days enough?
No.
Right.
I did. So I played Middle East. I was like, oh yeah, I know. I've set aside my grinding the tournaments so I can make more videos right now. Outside this video I'm going to be working on, I've set it aside, and I was like, let's jump into a solo cash. Got Middle East. Game 1, die in a no build zone because you can't build a wall there. Game 2, low elo, die to a hacker in endgame. Game 3, die to another no build zone. I'm like, let's just wrap
It's
this
not
up.
for me.
Played a couple games at EU, same shit. Not really the same shit. I was just rubbish. I was like, you know what? Let's just pack it in.
You sound
Luke,
like the average
it?
Fortnite kid right now. It's like, bro, I don't have enough time. I gotta quit school to go pro in Fortnite, man. Like, I can't be playing all these tournaments.
It takes a lot of time, man. That's the thing.
It does.
Like,
It
genuine.
does.
It
But
actually does.
Yeah,
Like,
you just gotta queue up for the tournaments. Play.
well, no, that you don't just queue for the tournament. You actually have to play to keep the skill. That's the problem. Like getting on and like playing fucking couple hours every day, that adds up a lot.
Just play a ranked cup. I'll make your ego feel good, you know.
Not even.
Stomping into
King Cup kids are crazy, bro. Trust me. Like,
No, Skin Cup's different.
no.
They grind
Yeah.
a bit more. Ranked Cups kids are a bit stinkier than the Skin Cup kids, you know. So we'll see how it goes.
to answer your question, fuck no, I don't play. I'm good off playing. Right
But
now.
have you been enjoying watching it?
I've been watching it.
That's a no.
Yeah.
That's a no.
I'll be honest, bro.
That's what it is. Yeah.
We're just. It's just been so long, Levin, man. It's just been so long since I felt something, you know. I need these div cups. I need these FNCS, and I need them soon. I want to use a word here, but it's not appropriate. But we've been for too long, you know. We need some real action.
Edged.
We've been edged. Yeah, we've been edged
I
for
can say
8
the
months.
thing. We can say the thing. It's funny.
We
I
said
don't
way
actually,
worse on this podcast. How are you not
that's
saying
true.
that?
I've said back shots in this podcast too. So yeah, you're probably right.
back shots has been said on the broadcast twice.
Oh yeah, true. Back shots and backside. Shout out Taco.
I think I've said this before, but people don't realize. Yeah, so Taco got all the flame for the whole back shots thing because she said back shots about somebody, right? She said somebody was getting back shots. People don't realize that like 2 weeks before that, Takata said Tayson was getting back shots as well, and just nobody noticed. And then like a week later, Taco says, and everyone's like, "Did she just say back shots?" On
Typical sexism in the Fortnite scene.
it.
Clear
Actually,
labels.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Double standards.
No, this is anti-sexism because no one's listening to Takata, but everyone's listening to Taco, right?
Wow, we're so progressive now. Holy shit. When Taco speaks, we listen.
Locked in. Yeah, Takata's like, no.
We've gone a long way. I remember they muted Reddish's interview at one of the globals. Like, now we're letting women speak finally. Fortnite Comp 2026, want a wave.
We are on a wave. Random. This actually wasn't where I was going with this next topic. We're gonna get to what I wanted to do, but I did see a comment on Reddit where someone said, "As a viewer, not a competitor, I screenshot it because I was like, oh, this is so spot on. This is how I feel about compared to Fortnite recently." He said, "As a viewer, not a competitor, I find it frustrating that competitive has lately been treated like a series of one-off tournaments here and there with no continuity. That is, you win a game this week, you win $100, yay. It leads to a lot of randoms who aren't streaming or creating content winning 100 here and there. And why would I, as a viewer, care about competitive Fortnite if it's just randoms winning $100 each week? I want to see professionals who stream tournaments, who promote the competitive scene, who grind to a consistent week to week. I want to follow a player or a duo, the one who would, just like someone would follow a professional team through an actual season. I also lose interest when every week new duos split ups, leading to new shakeups of new duos. It's been so long since FNTS. I think I was watching your stream, Boop, where like you mentioned, because people forget, we've not had an FNCS for like 8 months. There's been people who have birthed human beings since we last had an FNCS. Like, and I know we're gonna have one. So I'm not saying this as if like we don't know when we're gonna get one, but the fact that it's so far, like we've had so long without FNCS, like the actual most meaningful competition in the Fortnite ecosystem. Like it definitely has led to a point of like, I don't know if apathy is the word, where it's just easier to just not care about anything that's going on lately.
I don't care about anything that's going on lately.
I'll be honest, as someone that has to watch tournaments, I also do not care. I end up just talking about random shit the whole time. The problem is with this is like, has it been too long to where we've declined? And like, I mean, we're talking about viewership. Shout out Nick A30. But we can see like. The streams views are declining for a lot of people. Like, we're not hitting the same peaks. Is that just going to randomly come back all of a sudden when FNCS comes? And I also mentioned this yesterday, and it's funny because Fedoxy didn't know this, and I was talking about it on the stream. I was like, the div cups that we have next February, we're all waiting for those, right? Those are the big tournaments. Finally, we get some storyline, we get some Josper drama. Unfortunately, those div cups are not in the same season as FNCS. FNCS is next season. It's not this season. So all these Jospots dramas and these storylines don't really matter, even with these div cups, because a week later we're into season 2 of Chapter 7 for the actual FNCS. So it's even that sort of last bit of hope is gone.
I disagree with that.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah, I don't think that means all hope's gone. That just means
not
not as much.
but like at least some of the storyline that's going to be dropped off.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie.
Fights matter a lot.
I disagree a bit. Right? I think seasons where, because we've had a couple of seasons like that before, where we have like the div cups. I think seasons that have div cups that don't lead to an actual FNCS suffer from the same problem. Like FNCS is like when you have the FNCS at the end of a season of div cups, it's way more impactful because you have like all the context of all the div cups. Like it's actually like we have the week to week where people are like, oh, this happened. Like I think it's problematic still. I
don't think it's meaningless though. That was the wording.
Maybe not fully.
Like, you're still getting set lobbies with, but I definitely agree. It's definitely way worse because especially like the meta. It's not even drop spots. Like the meta will entirely change coming into the season. So the people who are good this season might be a bit stinkier next, and
it's more the combination. If I'm being honest, it's the combination of like it's been so long that we finally have like the pre-climax, and then when we finally have the climax of an FNCS, it's not in the same context
underwhelming.
as yeah. Unfortunate.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
I was going to say a lot of this is, potentially just because Epic's moving to a new layout. Like I feel like next year we're not going to have the same drag because it went from having no tournaments at the end to the start of a year, and then it's kind of we've had both. We've had none at the end and then none at the start, and then next year it'll hopefully not end up being this way because you'll have tournaments at the end.
If it continues.
If it's very
because the same way we just now have a bunch of tournaments this year, what happens if this year is a bit mid and they're like, we're not doing that again next year? And then this is, so hopefully. But
it only happens if the land's in America. That's it.
Hope not. All right. What I actually wanted to ask you guys, I mentioned solos because I wanted to do something we've not done in a while, and I want you guys to blind rank some solo players. I'm gonna give you 6 players. You both have to agree together.
Okay.
Someone doesn't get placed if you do not both agree. You have to come to a consensus agreement amongst you two. 6 players. The first player you're going to have to rank is Muzz.
Ooh. Is this international? Are we going international?
There's going to be EU and NA players.
Okay.
So Muzz is a weird one because he's a Victory Cup merchant.
He is a Victory Cup merchant.
But do we care about Victory Cups that much?
I don't think he's as much of a set lobby goat.
Yeah,
there's already other people on my mind where I would put them over him.
And we have to think like Levin as well. He's gonna leave a Savage or a Mongo till the end,
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, or a Clixie.
Or a Heater to the end.
Yeah.
I think this is a solid 3 because Muzz is still one of the best solo players.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who you're going to put above. It could be a 4, or maybe a 4.
There's got to be like I'm thinking who's better than Muzz, right? Like there's
Peterbot, 100%.
Peterbot.
You could say.
You could say a lot of the EU guys. Maybe Vico. You could probably put above him. You might mention a Shark potentially if he's better than Thingy, but that's also hard because we haven't seen much of Shark. It's. I'd say 3 or 4. I'd feel more comfortable putting on 4 if I'm being honest. Because I feel like there's a lot.
I'll go 4. I don't know if there are that many people. I don't know. I think a lot of the EU solos are very like nowhere near as consistent. I know NA solo people are shit.
Yeah, we just haven't had set lobbies. I mean, with Pixie, Mustache has been pretty good in solos. There's a lot that we just don't have that much reference.
I think 4 is safe.
We're locking in 4.
Yes,
I think we lock in 4.
The next player is Shark.
Shark he's not had the longevity in solos. This is the thing.
No.
He's only been around lately.
But the last few solo cups he's won. Nvidia Cup.
Yes.
The other cup he won a third party solo tournament as well.
He's above
Muzz.
He's above Muzz.
He's definitely above Muzz. Is he the best solo player?
No.
I mean, let's be honest. Is he a favorite to win EU?
I think he is. No,
I think so too. Right, like. As much as you want to doubt his inexperience, like the kid's still fucking cracked. He's still doing shit.
But he's not top 5.
Muzz is top of not Muzz. Sorry, Shark is top of the cumulative leaderboard of
that
solo
too.
qualifiers.
But set lobbies also we haven't had a set lobby as much. I think those are like the open formats. But he's also as much as people think he's a WK player, he does also know just to play late game and then get frag in late game as well. So. Yeah. I would put him near the top, but I wouldn't put him as first because I think someone's freaky is coming first.
If Levin hasn't Peterbot's the best solo player. If you've not got, but then the question is, have we not got Peterbot on the lists?
Or is he going to change it now that we're mentioning all these players? Like, look at his eyes, bro. I don't trust him.
Yeah, he's
looking down. He's changing. He's typing.
I'm writing down your list so we don't forget.
Okay, it's 2 or 3. It depends who's above. It's a gamble. I'll take 3 because.
I'll agree with you.
2 people I want to
say 2 because it's who else would you put above Shark other than Peterbot, right?
Pixie probably.
Probably Pixie. But
then
he's
has
Levin
chosen Pixie?
Yeah, But would I be sad about Pixie below Shark with recent? Not really. Fair. I don't know.
That's
2 or 3 for me as well.
Take two.
Okay, yeah. I was leaning more towards 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Shark locked in at number 2. The next player is Kurama.
Ooh, he is a GOAT, but
he's very good at
you know
solos.
What? If this was NA solos only, he'd be number 1. I think he's the best.
If he's 150 ping,
it's all solos.
Yeah, I know. It's just
is it Kurama 150 ping or is he 0 ping in EU? You know,
Kurama did do better
beast.
on NA than EU.
He is crazy, but
definitely
I think
below Muzz.
Yeah, I'd go 5.
I'll put him 5. He's good, but he's sort of a victory cup merchant more than anything.
Very impressive watching him play on such crap ping and consistently do well like every single week. It's not.
He just loves his looks. He crouches everywhere, you know, and he just hits you with a bang. So solid player.
I'm a big fan of Kurama.
Mm-hmm.
The next player we have is Pixie.
Ooh. Oh.
You have 1, 3, and 6 available.
It's got to be 3 then, doesn't
It's
it?
3. He has to put Pete in this list.
He's
Ain't
not.
no
He's,
way.
if he's not put Pete in this list, then
Unless he change. I wanna see Levin hand up in the air, say you're not changing the list midway through. Promise that you're not changing this list midway through, and then we'll put him 3.
Bro said, promise me, please.
Promise me you're not fucking us over, Levin.
Are you locking Pixie in at 3?
Answer the question, Levin. God damn it.
Are you? I'll tell you my mythology.
I'll put him 3.
after. Okay. Reese, you agree? 3's fine for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Your next player is... Look at Reese's face.
Spit it out.
Don't fuck us, Levin.
What do you mean don't fuck you? What do you mean don't
It's
fuck you?
all on you. If this goes to shit, it's all on you, man.
It's all on me.
It's all your fault.
What did I do? Okay. Your next player is Vico.
Ooh.
Actually, I don't. Where did we put Muzz? Did we put Muzz 4?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I don't know
if
what
we put
Vico's
Muzz
done
5
lately.
and Crumb 6, I'll be happy. But now we're in trouble.
I don't know. We could just say recency bias and put him 6, and then you'd be like, see, yeah, we just got recency bias.
Yeah, we could go recency bias. But I mean, if we're being honest, he's not better than Shark currently, I guess.
Nah,
in
I
recent
wouldn't say
form,
so.
Pixie all time. If we talk all time, I guess Pixie's been better all time potentially.
Mhm.
I mean, Vico
It's
did win
Red
that solo
Bull.
land, but that land
That
it's
was
also hard
laggy.
to equate. Yeah, I think we're forced to put him 6 here. I think,
Yeah, I would say so.
and just pray that number 1. I mean, either way, this is either Mongrel or Peterbot, so we're good here. So
The last person who kind of is automatic. I will give you guys 1 swap after.
okay.
Oh.
Oh, that's actually gonna be. Ooh, that we should. That's so fun. I think.
The last person is Cammy.
That's actually not bad. I
That's
mean, he
not
won
bad.
the
That's
land.
not
He raised the
bad.
land.
Yeah.
Hey.
And the second and whatever was after that. The
Yeah.
solo series.
So
fine.
your list-
both set lobby and solos. So, yeah.
Your list is Cammy, Shark, Pixie, Muzz, Kurama, Vico.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mean, if we have a swap, like
What
swapping
was
1
your
and 3,
one swap to
put
fix
Pixie
your list?
first. Pixie first. Pixie, Shark, Cammy.
Is that the right swap?
I mean,
I can see it. If you're talking about conversation for set lobby, you could argue Cammy might be better form for solos right now because he's going to figure shit out, you know? So
I think if I was
I'd
gonna
rather
swap-
swap Vico out with somebody.
I was gonna say, I think if it was me, I would swap Vico and Muzz.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Vico Muzz I would
yeah.
swap around. I think
Yeah,
that
that
makes
would
the
make
mid
more
list
sense.
more likely.
More
like,
accurate. Yeah, yeah.
But then, yeah, if we had two, we probably. I think we agree that in an ideal list, we put Kurama last in this list, and then maybe Vico, Muzz 5th, and then Vico 4th. I think that's the ideal list here.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So if we just swap that around, we just have one person wrong. That's Muzz, I guess.
Yeah. So
I would swap Muzz and Vico. That's my choice.
What would you swap, Reese? Would you do the same swap, or would
Yeah,
you
I
still
think- I
swap
think so.
Cammy and...
No, I think that's a more accurate swap.
Interesting. Oh yeah.
I just value the top of the list more than the bottom, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you could just make an argument for Cammy. Like, I don't think you can make an argument
Yeah, I
for Vico to be the worst player on this list. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
So
That's your Vico
Yeah, I'd
bias.
agree with that.
That's it.
I'd agree with that. To be fair though,
Yeah, no, I
Vico
shout out Vico.
has Vico been doing good in solos recently?
I can't remember. That's the thing. I
feel like Vico's solo form has been a bit sting. I think on form, Vico might be the worst of all these, just on like actual form. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's did something good recently and I'm forgetting.
let me have a look. Yeah.
Trying to remember, he didn't do that good at Eraser for him. I don't know.
Because he didn't do that good at Eraser.
Got the mentor a little bit. He's struggling a bit with the mentor, I think, in solos.
Has he not been playing solos? I don't think he's been playing.
He has been playing solos. I think he got top 5 in the first qualifier. Then he didn't play.
It's not on his thing.
I remember because I think I coached him. I was live coaching Vico.
You sure that wasn't last time? Maybe. I mean, it's not in his.
I think it was solo series. I remember I was coaching him and Velo for solo series, and I think he got top 5. Whatever.
You know, maybe I would just swap Pixie and Cammy, man, and keep my list. Maybe I would just do that. Just leave the list how it is.
Say you hate Vico, man. You know,
I love Vico. Man. Vico's like my favorite, man. I love Vico so much.
He's the goat.
He is.
All right, guys, we have some comments to read. We've not read some comments in a while, so we're going to read out some comments from last episode. We had a couple comments. I feel like a lot of episodes, I end up being like, hey, let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. And like, we're going to actually get people's thoughts on these things in the comments. But actually, before we get thoughts on things in the comments, can we quickly talk about the cancelling of Nick A30?
Oh, it's over for him. There's 2 things he's been cancelled for, actually.
Nick A30 ruined
3, actually, if you really want to go there. But
well, 3 if you want to go there, yeah. I guess. We don't.
What are the 3 for the...
Well, we'll go 2.
I mean, okay, it's not that deep. We could mention it. So the first thing was he had a clip where I think he unfollowed a Twitter user for talking about the Harry Potter transphobia stuff.
Oh,
so
I didn't see that. Yeah.
So that was the first thing he got cancelled for. I can't remember the second. What's the second?
The second is the fact that he said shit on his stream.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my cousin cried. I remember he told me that. He was
I cried. It's the end of an era.
And then the third is him getting abuse for getting Shockwaves removed out of the game.
Yes. He was the reason why Shockwaves were removed, I heard, yes.
Yes.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. Every time things like this happen, it reminds me that there is a whole different world out there to the world that I'm living in. Because like I was seeing people like commenting like, oh my God, Shockwaves are like the only good thing about playing the game. And I'm like, I can't be living in the same reality. Like I'm seeing tweets with thousands of likes where people are like defending Shockwaves with their life. And I'm like, huh? Like, what am I missing here? If you're a 0 build player and you're telling me Shockwaves are the only like usable fun mobility in 0 build, fair enough. Like, fair enough. I'm not as versed in 0 build and I just don't care as much. So if it is actually much better in 0 build, cool. I don't understand anybody playing builds who is upset about Shockwaves not being in the game. Like that is
I have seen, thankfully, some actual debate on exactly what you're talking about lately. I've seen quite a few posts over the last couple of days of people being like, we need a split. We used to be saying this. We used to be like, as comp players, we need pubs and comp loot to be different. Right now, we're getting the pubs people are having that conversation of we need 0 build and build to be separate loopholes for this exact reason. And I was like, this is very interesting. This is bringing me back. But yeah, I think to be honest, I think a lot of the general consensus that I've read has been 0 build is that, build not. And all of the people who are like, we need Shockwaves in build mode are just those guys who run away when you play reload and you shoot them once and they have like 24 Shockwaves and they just keep going and keep going. And you know what? Yeah. Personally, I'm not appeasing to those guys. That's not.
That's a nice way of putting it, mate. I just say fuck them.
But that's how when I'm playing, that's what I say. In this more formal situation, I'll say, you know what? We don't stand with you. We don't. No, thank you.
I mean, these are people that play Battle Royale like it's the Hunger Games. You know, like they have to survive at any moment, so they need those Shockwaves. I think the conversation is like, okay. Actually, it's actually kind of insane because there's more context to this because an Epic Games employee had to come out and defend Nick. Like, what the fuck are we ever gonna get? What the hell? Where was this sort of defending when everything else happened? You know, like I don't know. For some reason, an Epic Games there's like, yo guys, you can't blame Nick. This was a process that came for a long time. We thought about this. You know, Nick sent someone a message like, yo. Julia or something, you know, like help us out. I'm
getting too much heat, guys.
You know, I got an icon skin to sell here. You know, you're gonna help me with my reputation. I need a PR. So that was kind of crazy. the truth of the matter is, as people like us that know Epic and that are in the sphere with Epic and speak to Epic Games on a daily basis, I can tell you wholeheartedly, to the truth, on the best of my ability, yes, it's all Nick A30's fault. As Epic Games employees as we are, no. Okay, yes and no. Like, if I say something to an Epic Games employee in private, or if I tweet something, or Resub makes a YouTube video, this is actually the best one. Resub makes a YouTube video, all of a sudden shit gets changed, you know? If I mention something, like, I think the best case was like, okay, I told them, yo, we need Evo Cups to be an hour earlier, because why is it an hour? Why is it at 7 p.m.? A week later, they changed it. You know, they listened to the feedback. It wasn't public, but like it was internal. Like, yes, Epic Games listens to people like us and like Nick A30, maybe even more like Nick A30, because he's got a bigger influence. You know. So is he the main reason why Shockers gets removed? No. If it's a bad decision, they're not going to do it. Is he opening up that conversation for things to get removed? Absolutely. You know, once you have a sort of notoriety behind it, once you have a bit of virality behind a comment, that's when Epic's like, okay, we're going to actually take a look at it and talk about it internally. I'm sure there's no way Nick never messaged someone at Epic Games and being like, yo, can you guys take a look at Shockwaves? Like, of course he has. That's what I would do if I had Epic Games contacts. That's what I do all the time. So, partially to blame, but he people act like he shot the dog, you know? Like, he's not that bad.
I would say for the most part, everything you said there, Boop, is correct, right? And is in line with at least my experience, right? What I would say to the people who feel aggrieved by Nick A30, ultimately, the people at Epic Games have to make that decision.
Yeah.
And the reality is, Epic Games won't make a decision based off of pressure from Nick A30. Epic Games will make a decision because they believe it's the decision to make. And so Nick A could have, Ninja, Nick, whoever can threaten and say, I'm never playing Fortnite again unless they change this, that. That's not what's going to make them change something. They're going to change something because they think it's the best thing to do. Nick A speaking up against it might bring more attention to it. And if there's people at Epic who, like, in the case of Shockwaves, right? Theoretically, I don't know, right? But there might have been people at Epic who thought we should have Shockwaves in. There might have been people who thought, nah, we shouldn't. The people who think we shouldn't might go, look at the community sentiment around it. Look, big creators like Nick A. They might use that as ammo for their case, but it's not the determining factor.
Yeah.
I mean, I also think you're wrong because you said there's people who are on either side. I don't agree. I think there's one guy at Epic. I've said this. I think I've said it 10 times on this podcast. There's one guy at Epic who just loves Shockwaves and puts them in every playlist.
And unfortunately, he's the boss.
That's it. Yeah, and he's up there, and he's seen the tweet, and that's it. And he's gone, oh, no, hold on, I'm doing something wrong.
No,
I've been caught. I've snuck the Shockwaves in every playlist for 4 years, and finally someone started moaning about it. That's actually my real theory.
Yeah, nah, I mate, Shockwaves, get him out. Shout out to Nick A, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick A.
But put him in. Go for it. Put him in zero builds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of reasons not to, man. He broke my heart after he swore on the stream, man. All right, let's read some comments.
He just hates Fortnite now. He just plays our creators all day, man.
Everybody who has to create casual Fortnite content hates Fortnite. Like, that's the current trend. You're not doing it right if you don't hate Fortnite and you're making casual Fortnite content. We had a bunch of people last episode leave comments about when they started watching competitive Fortnite. Because we asked them, let us know, when did you start watching competitive Fortnite? We had Destroy Gamma who said, oh, wait, no. He was talking about, he wasn't, I just saw the season and I was like, oh, this is when he was watching. No. We had Ave Rabbi who says, started watching FNCS Chapter 2 Season 8, only the broadcast. In Chapter 4 Season 2, I started watching everything I could. Chapter 2 Season 8, what season was that?
That was Grand Royale season. That was the double season, the Cammy dominance, first and second one.
Ooh, that's a good season.
Is that 32 heats season?
Yeah, but there was the two FNCSs because you had the actual chapter 2
the regular one,
and then you had the 32
reboot What a great time to be alive to join Fortnite comp at that point.
Right?
Jeez.
Yeah. That's a good season.
Time. Back then, you would have been watching me and Reese Hub analyzing on the broadcast.
That's why he's mentioning that. That's it.
Wowza.
Whew.
And then Boop joined a couple seasons after and messed it all up.
I did my time.
Yeah, kind of. Did like a season and a half.
Yeah, I mean, I gave it to Mini Minor. Have you been seeing the TikToks he's been making? He needed it, man. Come on.
Mini Minor is on a
like every one of them.
run.
I like everyone straight to the comments to check all the gifs every time.
But what if your name is Dirty Donut 59? What do I do then? Oh my god.
I see those all the time and I can't help but watch. It's
Every
my
time.
pleasure.
I have to watch it too. It's so fucking stupid.
DJ Garfield says, Power vids in early Chapter 5 were my gateway into being a comp Fortnite fan. I had never even heard of FNCS until their boys won Chapter 5 Season 1 and made a video about it. Crazy.
That's interesting. You have, obviously, because like a lot of the power content is relatively casual. And then obviously they do drop their comp vids every now and then. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And that's like the equivalent on EU or something is like you have a Clicks fan. And then I guess most of Clicks' content, not anymore. A lot of Clicks' content on YouTube is actually not as competitive focused. But then if he wins FNCS and he puts that video up, you're like, oh, what is this? This is cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
they're
Power's the
more
best for that. They've done very good to like streamline their players from casual and then maybe build up interest in the competitive there. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that echo that sentiment.
Jamal FN says, I started really actually following every day right before Peterbots ran. Great time to start watching. I always loved Fortnite and followed before, but never played a lot. I pretty much quit COD. That's why I started following comp closely. So he was like a Call of Duty person and then saw Peterbot dominating the scene and said, yeah, I'm involved. I wonder how many fans Peterbot is responsible for in terms of just like really getting people interested in it.
It's gotta be. So many people talking about him. Like, it's gotta be.
It has to be.
Or they join and like, man, this is fucking boring. This P guy just wins everything, you know? Like that's a lot of people stopped watching F1 when Vettel started dominating everything, you know? Like a lot of these things happen in other sports too. It's like when someone's so dominant, it's like, man, it's boring now.
Why
But just watching P win, yeah.
Interesting. I never used to play video games. When my friends got Modern Warfare, oh, sorry, I just saw MW and assumed Modern Warfare, but I think he misspelled me. He said, when my friends got me into Fortnite during Chapter 5 Season 2, that's when it was. Chapter 5 Season 2, that was a good season. Wait, was that Wrecked?
I wouldn't remember.
No, Wrecked was Chapter 5 Season 3.
Okay.
Chapter 5 Season 2 was... I don't want to look at the spreadsheet.
Come on, spreadsheet guy.
Anyway, then slowly they stopped playing and I started watching Nick for a few days.
Shit, he's really not gonna like this episode.
Shockwaves back then. Loved all his content about it.
And then he moved
stopped watching
Shockwaves.
Nick, and he switched to watching Mr. Savage instead. I started watching Savage at Chapter 6 Season 1 FNTS, but I love the game and I love following comp. Thanks to you guys, says Dinesh.
Oh, that's awesome.
Someone screenshot that and put underneath Nick's tweet about views.
Shockwaves aren't the problem, mate. It's Mr. fucking Savage.
Mr. Savage coming to take your bitch, man.
Oh, man. Okay, well, that's great. Yeah, appreciate you guys all leaving comments. Keep leaving them. A lot of people also left their things that they wanted to see in 2026 this year. There's only one I will mention because I don't see this guy's names mentioned as much recently.
Okay.
Someone said, this year I want Thomas HD to have his comeback.
True.
Why doesn't has Thomas been playing? Who's Thomas playing with? I feel like I'd never seen anything about Thomas
Focus.
anyway.
Yeah.
He won the last something. He won something.
Yeah, they did
Focus.
They're doing all right.
They
I
won.
want to see Thomas come back. Is Thomas getting signed by? Is Thomas on an org? Is he getting signed by someone?
I mean, it used to be G2 Thomas, you know?
Yeah.
Might run it back. I mean, he's always an EWC player that people look out for, you know? Big numbers, socials, longevity. I'm sure they know his name. I don't know if he gets signed, I'll be honest. His teammate left MAGA Esports. MGA Esports. It's MGA, but I always call it MAGA Esports because it's funny. But yeah, so maybe they do get signed potentially.
There you go. All right. Well, yeah. Keep leaving your comments. We'll read out a couple more next episode. thank you guys all for listening, I guess. Oh, I forgot.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the last episode of FNtasia.
Wow.
We're rebranding. Next episode will be
Finally.
the new branding. I hope. There's a couple last things I need to
I thought we were going to
finalize.
make the joke that it's ending again.
No. So yeah, next week, nothing will change for you. If you're listening on YouTube, nothing will be different for you guys. Literally nothing. If you're listening on Spotify, it might look different. If you see a different podcast pop up on your feed, it might be different. But it might also still be the same because I don't know how long it takes for it all to change over. Like sometimes
It'll
those
still be
things
on the
take
same page though, right? Like if
bit-
they
yeah,
follow
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It'll still be exactly. Yeah, if you follow the podcast, it will still be the same. It will just look different. So make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss it. I don't want to get people tweeting me, what happened to FNtasia? Look, I've not seen it in ages. It's right there. It's just called something else. Follow us on Twitter. The link to our Twitter will be in the description. You'll see the new branding and stuff so you can get familiar. I just don't want to say it now because we still need to change all our ats and I don't want someone to steal our at because I haven't sorted that out yet. So let's just, make sure that's all right. Love you guys. See you next week.